extradition to Hawaii, where she is again charged with second-degree murder in the death of her identical twin.
I also have the indictment that charges you with murder in the second degree.
Standing before a judge in a bright yellow jumpsuit Friday for what her attorney describes as her darkest day.
Her sister was her soulmate. They were as close as two human beings can possibly be.
They were great business partners that loved each other. They were very dedicated to what they were doing.
So Warrior 2 and Warrior 1 are very similar.
The business partner sisters were driving along a windy road in Maui in May. Duval behind the wheel when their SUV plunged off a 200-foot cliff, killing her sister Anastasia in the passenger seat. Duval insisted it was a tragic accident, but investigators called it intentional, saying they found evidence the Ford Explorer accelerated in the final seconds.
That speed gradually increased over the 5-second period.
And witnesses describe seeing a scuffle in the vehicle just before the crash, leaving friends in disbelief.
They were the sweetest pie to each other. It just doesn't make sense.
Duval returned to New York after a Maui judge found no probable cause to charge her with murder back in June. But in October, a grand jury indicted her, leading to her arrest last week in Albany.
So she wasn't attempting to evade detection or anything. She had no idea she'd been indicted.
And she's being held on $3 million bail and is due back in court for an extradition hearing next month. Her attorney says she left Hawaii so she could grieve, and that's something she's still doing.
Quite a story. We will continue to follow it. Marcy, thank you. Sure. Let's get back to the forecast yet again with Rob, who's over at the weather wall. Hey, Rob.
Hi, Dan. Talked a lot about the snowstorm. Want to go back to our big story for the past month, which is the fire, or the fires, I should say, across the southeast. Raleigh, North Carolina. This is the smoke yesterday. Take a look at this time lapse. The Party Rock fire, which in the last 24 hours has grown another 1,000 acres. And you can see how it expanded. Very, very dry air here, and the winds have been gusting, and they're only going to get worse with this next front that's coming through. Fire weather watches are up, critical fire danger, red flag warnings up for high winds over 30 miles an hour at times. So that's not going to help the situation. What we did get, 1/10 of an inch of rain this morning in Birmingham, Alabama. Thank goodness that breaks a 61-day streak of no rain at all. The drought's still devastating in that part of the country. Meanwhile, we do have some rain and a pretty substantial storm that's getting into the West Coast. This will bring rain for everybody, I think, from Washington all the way down into Southern California. They certainly will take it as well. Not a whole lot of wind with this and some snow in the mountains, so garden variety type of storm that they certainly will benefit from. All right, college football tonight. Oklahoma taking on the Mountaineers in Morgantown. 32 degrees. That's certainly a slap in the face. Windy conditions and snow showers, so the passing and kicking game may be impacted by that. Sunshine across parts of Texas and the Oklahoma Panhandle. That's a quick check on what's going on nationally. Here now is your local forecast.
Major changes coming to the area for today. At noon, we have a wind advisory that's going to be going into effect. Some of those wind gusts getting into the lower 50s by the time we head into tonight and for our Sunday. Take a look at our temperatures right now. We're off to quite a cool start.
This weather report is brought to you by Ashley Home Store. Spartans are playing today. It's going to be some snow showers there as well. I believe the Wolverines are playing in the Big House. It'll be windy there as well. So really, this is the first time that in all season, both college football and the NFL are going to be impacted by weather. So it'll be interesting to watch.
It'll be stressful. Let's send in that therapy turkey. Coming up here on GMA, the case of the missing airline miles, 94,000 of them, how the ABC News fixer navigated this one, and how to make sure your miles don't disappear into thin air.
You're fixated on that turkey, I think you are. And the Game of Thrones star tapped for a role in a Star Wars.
I don't know about you, but I am, as I've already admitted, mildly obsessed with racking up frequent flyer miles with my credit card.
How many do you have?
So, a lot. Yeah.
A couple commas.
I've been hoarding them.
But what happens if they just disappear in the thin air? Well, it happened to one man, and when he ran into turbulence trying to get them back, he turned to the ABC News fixer.
Don Sinsel says he has the best job in town. He's the editor of the local newspaper in tiny Oakland, Maryland. To pay the bills, he uses a business credit card from Barclaycard that earns miles, allowing Don and his wife Susie to take some pretty cool trips.
And all made possible by those cards and those points.
A great perk until it all got tripped up.
Something was definitely wrong.
Don was still spending, but his American Airlines points just weren't adding up.
I talked to Barclay Cards month after month after month.
Finally, someone at Barclay Card corrected the glitch that had been sending Don's points into a black hole. But 94,000 miles were still missing, more than enough for 3 cross-country round-trip flights. And while the customer service reps could see them in the system, no one could put them back.
It was the epitome of exasperation. You feel totally helpless, and you sense they're never going to fix this.
So he called in the ABC News fixer. Our fixer, Stephanie Zimmerman, swung into action.
I wanted to talk to you about what happened.
Stephanie contacted an executive at Barclay Card, and within days, they restored Don's missing points and promised him $20,000 more just for his trouble. But what exactly happened? Barclay Card said the card originally was issued through another bank, and when they took over, a data error occurred. Barclay Card said the mistake was not widespread, and they thanked the fixer for bringing it to their attention. So how can you stop something like this from happening to you?
Keep good track of your points. There's lots of online tools to track everything you're earning. Set a goal so you know what you're saving for and when you'll get it.
It's fixed. Thanks, ABC News Fixer.
Great advice right there. And if you have a consumer problem for the ABC News Fixer, you can find Stephanie at abcnews.com/fixer. She has already recovered $1.8 million for frustrated consumers. Maybe she'll fix your problem right here on It has to be a consumer problem, though, Dan.
Right.
Dan was making a list.
I got a lot of things I could share with her.
Problems.
No, right, yeah.
No, that's your therapy turkey.
That might cause some trouble at home. Anyway, coming up here on GMA, great advice on how to have speaking of this, a stress-free holiday. And what to do if you feel your temperature rising. Expert tips.
And a new way to feed your chocolate and cookie cravings. Ron, do you know where we're going with this?
There's a hint right there.
Yeah, the delicious details with Diane. Diane has delicious details.
Thank you, Diane.
Oh,
Rio!
Always bring sweets.
Oh, Rio.